Hi, this is Rachelle Scrapcraftastic, and I asked if anyone would like to know how to make this pouch. We can do something similar, but not exact because of size issues. And I got a few responses saying yes, so I am going to make it. This is a little pocket from Simply Gilded, and I got it in a recent haul with some goodies in it, or with my order in it, and I just thought it was cute and fun and something that I would like to try to make. So you can make a pocket like this to put in your planner, to send happy mail, anything you want. You can make it any size you want. The key to it is the sizing and adding the 1/2 inch tabs to close it together. This one is about 7.5 inches in height and 6 inches wide. So if I double the 7.5, that's 15 inches. So I would need at least a 15-inch length of paper to make it this exact size. The width I can accommodate, but not the 15 inches, because the biggest paper that I have as far as scrapbook paper, I mean, I could probably do it with the rolled craft paper, but I don't want a craft paper pocket. So the biggest decorative or scrapbook paper that I have is 12 by 12. So we're going to make it work with the 12 by 12. So as I mentioned, it's 6 inches wide, and I'm going to need a 1/2 inch extra on each side to make the tabs to glue this together. So instead of 6 inches wide, I need to cut my paper at 7 inches wide. Now, of course, this was designed specifically for this purpose. So it's got like this nice pattern on the back. Then on the front, you've got the gold foiling and the floral spray up at the top. You could do something like this with a floral spray, maybe add a sticker or a die cut or something like that to the top of yours to make it a little more like this pocket. But again, we're working with what we have here, so it's not going to be perfect. So let's go ahead and trim the paper to 7 inches wide. That gives us, our pocket is 6 inches and we need a 1/2 inch on each side, so that's 7 inches. Again, so if you wanted to do this for your 4x6 planner, you want your pocket to be 4 inches wide, so you need to cut your paper at 5 inches. I hope the math is making sense here. And by the way, I'm using paper from Moonflower Magic. It is a hot buy paper pad from Michaels from 2019. Now that we have our 7 by 12 piece, I'm going to take my scoreboard. You don't have to use a scoreboard. You can just use your ruler, but we want to mark off 1/2 inch on each side. I'm using this stylus. This stylus is actually from Dollar Tree, back when everything was $1. And I like this one better than my Fiskars, which is here. The Fiskars, the little balls on the end of the stylus are small, and a lot of times it ends up cutting through my paper. This Dollar Tree one has a small one on one end, but it also has a nice big ball on the other end, and I can score so much better with that without worrying about breaking a hole in my paper. So I'm scoring on with the 7-inch side at the top. I'm scoring at 1/2 inch, and then I flip the paper around just because it's easier, because I'm left-handed, to score at 1/2 inch. So basically what we've done is scored at 1/2 inch on either side of our paper. Then I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper. You don't have to do this. If you don't want the curve like this, you could actually use your paper punch and punch a decorative edge. You could have it go straight across. You could do any number of things, but I'm trying to keep it as close to the example as I can. So I'm just going to take a piece of cardstock, scrap cardstock that I had, and I'm going to slide that in. I cut it down to approximately the width of the pocket. Again, if you don't have a pocket to start with, you could just take like a plate or something round and around your edge. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm using this as a template. Just a piece of craft paper. Then I'm going to take my scissors, okay, and trim along that line as neatly as I can. So that gives me a template to make my cut. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Now I want to decide what height I want this to be. So as you can see, it's considerably different in height. So what I could do is just fold it and make my pocket whatever size it folds up to be. I could make the top a little taller than what this is and fold it like that. But I don't think I'm going to do either one of those. We may need to use two separate pieces of paper because with one piece of paper, we are way too short, several inches. But if I trim this down, let's go ahead and fold our scores so I can get a better feel for it. So if I do it like this, make this piece the back and trim it here. I would trim it at 8 inches because it's 7.5 inches. If I trim it at 8, that gives me room for a flap at the bottom. So let's do that. Let's make it exactly the size. The only difference is this is all one piece of paper. We're going to have to use two pieces of paper. So I'm going to trim this at 8 inches. Let's unfold the flaps and trim at 8. So I'm cutting at 8. So if you're doing this at home and you wanted exactly the size of the Simply Gilded, then your paper needs to be cut at 7 by 8. With the 7-inch side up top, you need to score at 1/2 inch and 6.5 inches. Or you can turn the paper like I do and score a 1/2 inch on each side. Either way. So this would be our back. And then we need to do our score line for the bottom. Let's make this the bottom. We already did the template for our half moon area or circular area. So here we're going to put a 1/2 inch score line with the 8-inch side up at the top. Score at 1/2 inch. So I'm sorry, I hope I didn't confuse the issue with changing how I'm doing it mid process, but this is the back. This is what our back would look like. So it's folded on two sides and at the bottom. Then I am going to miter the corners. It's basically trimming out the corners at a slight angle so that it creates less bulk when you fold everything and put it together. So, and this is the shape that you should end up with once you do all your folding. So this is what it should look like. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and use my score tool to burnish that down. Now let's cut our top piece. Let's find a nice pretty paper to go on the front. Okay, let's use this piece. So I'm going to cut this piece at 6 by 7. And I think I'm going to cut it the way that it's meant to be positioned. So 6 inches wide. And actually, I think the Simply Gilded pocket is slightly narrower, but we're gonna stick with nice round numbers. So 6 inches on width. Then I'm gonna do 7 inches in height. Let's go ahead and trim out our circular area. So my paper is a little wide, so let's do this. Now let's make sure, let's do a quick dry fit, make sure everything fits like it should. No, it does not. I need to trim that down a little bit. Let's make sure. Check and double check. I think we're good. So now I'm going to cut this down. So I'm just marking on those tabs where I need to cut them. And I'm going to go ahead and cut them. And then trim off that whole little piece of the tab right there. And I'm going to do that on both sides. Let's see what we're working with now. So that is what it looks like. Let's go ahead and glue it down. I'm going to use a wet glue. You can use tape runner. You can use double-sided tape, whatever you choose. Let's glue those down. Okay. So let's go ahead and put this on. Line it up. Let's try and get this straight. So this is my version of the Simply Gilded pocket, and you could decorate this up. This is just my version of this. The dip is a little lower, but it's basically the same thing. You could probably do something very similar and get it exactly the same size with a decorative folder. I've had these for a while. Let me see. Yeah, because this doesn't have any scoring on it. And yeah, you could cut the exact same size out of this, and this feels more like the weight of the cardstock that's used here. So maybe we'll come back and do something like that. I don't want to make a bunch of these pockets because I don't know what I want to do with them yet, and I want to make sure that I make a size that I can use later. But that is how you can make your own pocket. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that little gray bell so that you'll receive notification each time I upload a new video. Be sure to check the community tab and my stories for updates throughout the week. Also, check us out over at patreon.com/scrapcraftastic for exclusive content and digital downloads. Visit my other channel, Journal Life's Journey, for craft videos and junk journals. You can find me across social media at Scrapcraftastic. Visit my website and shop at scrapcraftastic.com. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.